Good morning. You're listening to Slices of Wenatchee. We're excited to bring you a closer look at one of our top stories and other important happenings every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Today, it's time for another installment of Rotten Apples, our regular movie review. Our team will talk about the latest film releases, what they loved, what fell flat, and whether it's worth your time. Before we continue, have you joined Neighbor yet? If not, download the app today and join local conversations about issues that matter. Neighbor is a site just for our local community focused on facts, not misinformation. Best of all, it's free for everyone. To learn more, visit wenatcheeworld.com/NABUR. Now, let's jump in.
Hello, this is Oscar Rodriguez, your host of Rotten Apples, the Wenatchee World's movie podcast. On today's episode, we'll be discussing One Battle After Another, written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. And with me to discuss it, I have...
Hi, my name is Josie Meads.
Okay, but before we begin the discussion, I'll just read out a brief description of the film from the Sun Basin Theater's website. So here we go. Washed-up revolutionary Bob exists in a state of stone paranoia, surviving off-grid with his spirited, self-reliant daughter, Willa. When his evil nemesis resurfaces after 16 years and she goes missing, the former radical scrambles to find her, father and daughter both battling the consequences of his past. And just for folks to understand, some of the cast, we have a star-studded cast this time around, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Regina Hall, Chase Infinity, Tiana Taylor, and Alana Haim. So, Josie, what'd you think of the movie?
I loved it. I loved it so much that I saw it on the Friday it opened, and I went out the next day and had to see it again.
Okay, yeah. So, I given the opportunity, will probably do the same. I very much like this film. It is probably my favorite film of the year. I'd argue it's probably the best film of the year. And for folks listening in, this is not the type of movie you kind of wait to go see. This is the movie the first free opportunity you have, you go see this film.
Yes, I agree. It's definitely a theater film to be seen on a big screen in a dark room surrounded by strangers, and everybody's laughing at different little moments that are laced throughout.
Yeah, absolutely. It is supremely funny. I think, just like you said, it's a perfect way to describe it. You'll never know what'll make a person laugh in this type of movie, but I was just giggling the whole time, and it is a rather intense film. I will let people know that if you're looking for we're maybe describing it as a comedic film, it is, but it's definitely not the sort of lighthearted, chuckle every once in a while and just kind of have a decently good time. It is from beginning to end an intense thrill ride that is kind of at times almost overwhelming, but it is very smooth on the eyes and beautiful to listen to, with like an amazing score by Johnny Greenwood, who is I think a pretty frequent collaborator with Paul Thomas Anderson. If you've seen any of the previous films in his filmography, such as There Will Be Blood, The Master, Phantom Thread, it is spectacular from beginning to end. And like I said before, probably my favorite film of the year. I don't know if you think the same, Josie.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I will fully admit I'm a PTA fanboy.
Yeah,
and so part of my excitement is just like a new PTA movie. It only happens like once a decade,
right?
I would say it's probably my favorite film of the year. And I'll tack onto that also the thing about seeing it in theaters. If you're in a location where you can see it on film, on the IMAX 70 millimeter print, or in the VistaVision, it was shot in VistaVision, which is just like, it's this thing that's come back around.
Right.
The Brutalist was shot in VistaVision.
Sure.
That it's incredibly nerdy for film people, but it is just such a good image.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I enjoyed, and I wonder how, and it would be too long to go into, but like the line between cinematic filmmaking and then what is put on television has disappeared in the last 5 years with streaming, and the level of the quality of what's being put on TV or on streaming services. In this film, it's almost like there's a disregard for that pure image, where it's like it's the way it's being captured is so clear and beautiful that it doesn't, not everything is like perfectly lit. Like some scenes, the only light is the light coming through the window from outside. And it's like almost like, is that kind of the way that cinema will go, is kind of this like more naturalistic way of lighting things.
I see what you're saying.
Like it's not just like a perfectly lit scene.
Yeah, that I think we've lost that a lot in recent, even in some films, in other films, it's just very neutral lighting. You just see everything, as opposed to the sort of grittier stuff you might have seen like 20 years ago, where you actually see shadows.
And like the nighttime cinematography in this film is great, where like you can see what's going on, but it's not like so clear that you can see everything that's going on. So that's brilliant. And I think that we should also mention that the storyline of One Battle After Another is lifted from Thomas Pynchon's Vineland. And it's like everything Pynchon does, it's a large text with a lot going on and a lot more than could ever fit into a film. But the premise of the revolutionary, who hasn't been in practice for some time, living in the woods with his daughter, that part is lifted. And I think that's, and all of Paul Thomas Anderson's films have this, where it's like they're these giant magnum opuses that
characters bigger than life, or they represent some kind of large, very complicated concept.
Right. Like in this one, it's revolutionaries like being confronted by their past, but at the heart of the film, it's a father-daughter tale.
Absolutely.
In the same way that There Will Be Blood is a giant piece about an oil baron and a religious leader, but then at the heart of it is a father and son story. And that's it gives the film a tenderness that is a nice through line where it almost makes all the revolutionary stuff and all the action stuff like palatable. Without it, it would just dissolve into, it's just an action flick. It's just a kind of a piece with a political statement.
I will let folks know that like Eddington that we reviewed before, the film has a lot of sort of political turmoil, a lot of it at the center of the film, and is kind of the thing that pulls apart a lot of the characters in one direction or the other, for good or for bad, as you know, depending on how you might see things. It is not everything, like Josie said, but if you're in a rather sensitive time currently with the political climate the way it is, if that's not something you're interested in, I might suggest avoiding it. However, the film is just such a good time, just at the sort of fundamental level. It is such an enjoyable time that I would highly suggest this, how to kind of put aside any sort of political inclinations you might have, just to sort of enjoy the sort of spectacle of it. Because even as Josie said, it is very tender. A lot of the performances might almost, for some folks, pull a tear down or two. But just at the heart of it, it is just a good time at the theater. So again, without sort of trying to, there's a lot you can pull from this film, I think. But at the very base level for folks, I highly recommend that they just go out to go see this. And it is a very fun 20 minutes after the film to discuss with whoever you want to go see it, because there's a lot to pull from, and a lot of, I imagine, on the internet and with your coworkers or your friends or family, there's a lot of very great quotable lines in it that are just hilarious. But then, like Josie said, it is very interesting to pull apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And part of me, having seen it multiple times now, I wonder how much of the political stuff in the plot is just kind of like plot motors to keep it going, and that the real statement of the film is "Viva la cinema." This like
maybe
this big budget that doesn't go through the film festival cycle.
Sure.
Film that opens with A-list stars, and it just is like put people in seats. Go
Sure.
see this go see this on the big screen.
Absolutely. I will tell that to anyone that will listen to go see this film in theaters more than once if they can. The last thing I want to wrap up is some of the performances in the film. Leonardo DiCaprio is great. I think he's it's not a controversial statement that he's great. There's Chase Infinity, who plays Leonardo DiCaprio's daughter. Apparently it's among her either first role or some of her early work so far in her career. She is spectacular. It is amazing to see what she can do. And probably my favorite so far, Sean Penn plays the sort of villain or quote unquote nemesis of the film, and he is a disgusting character, and it's intended that way, I believe. But my favorite so far is Benicio del Toro, who plays he owns a dojo. I think if I remember correctly, his name is Sensei Carlos, I think. Yeah. Hilarious. He's probably the centerpiece of probably my favorite scene in the film. So keep an eye out for his life, and the sort of work he's doing in the background behind just being a sensei and a karate teacher. But yeah, I'll be rooting for Benicio del Toro for a Best Supporting Actor nomination come Academy Award time. I wonder what you thought about the performances.
Oh, I loved them. I thought that Sean Penn's was, it rivals the, I feel like a role like that to play it correctly, you have to approach it with such a serious level, but he's just this caricature of this G.I. Joe doll. Yeah. And all of his little facial tics, and it's one of those roles that any actor, I think that you'd have to find the right actor to play it, but any actor given the opportunity to play it would just absolutely sink their teeth into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you watch him do that throughout the entire movie. And I'm really taken with Regina Hall. She's in it just like sporadically. Yeah. But she's almost like this through line from the revolutionary past that when that's kind of I don't know. I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, I probably avoid.
But her performance is one of those tender pieces. Yeah. Where it's like there's a lot of emotion going on. And Chase Infinity was great, and there's scenes with her where she doesn't even have any lines, and you can tell.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of them
going on with her, and just in her facial expression.
Yep, absolutely.
And yeah, they're all great, and the calmness of Benicio del Toro through all the chaos that's going on. He's just like ocean breaths. It
is. I promise, folks, if you go see this film, it is. I was laughing like every other minute. There was some joke or just some funny reaction from one of these characters. Because I will say the film is rather surreal, like a lot of PTA's works is. And this is no exception. And it just gets me every time. I have to go see this again just to sort of memorize some of these lines so I can start quoting them at people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, is there anything else that you want to talk about?
I don't know. Not on the top of my head.
We'll have to see it again and then come up with some other stuff to talk about.
I feel like I could just go on and on about it, especially if we did a spoiler review. But we don't have to do that.
Okay. So I think that wraps up our discussion for today then. Let us know via Facebook or by reaching out to us on our website what you thought about the film, or if you have other films you'd like to see us discuss. But thank you very much for listening.
For more, head over to wenatcheeworld.com. Are you passionate about the issues shaping North Central Washington? Then you won't want to miss the Wenatchee World Forum at PIBUS. This monthly event brings together newsmakers and the community to dive into the topics that matter most. It's your chance to engage, ask questions, and be part of the conversation shaping our region's future. Have questions or need more info? Visit wenatcheeworld.com/forum. Now, a few other stories you should know about. Microsoft is preparing to test its new cooling system in Malaga, part of a $16.4 million infrastructure project supporting its growing data center operations. The Shalane Douglas Regional Port Authority is managing the disposal facility, which will handle nearly 820,000 gallons of cooling water per building each year. Phase 1 is complete, with lagoons and conveyance systems in place, and Phase 2, featuring spray fields and a pump house, is now underway. Microsoft is covering all costs and plans to begin full operations next spring. The Wenatchee School District is gearing up for a $294 million bond proposal aimed at replacing its aging high school and upgrading HVAC systems across the district. Officials say it's more cost-effective to rebuild than continue patching the 1971 facility, which operates over capacity and suffers from outdated infrastructure. If approved, the bond would unlock $79 million in state matching funds and could lead to a new 280,000 square foot high school within 3 years. Lighthouse Christian Ministries has a new executive director, Colin Oliveira, who succeeds longtime leader Sean Arrington. Oliveira started with the nonprofit as a food truck driver and recently returned to the Wenatchee Valley after becoming a pastor and earning a business degree. With the closure of Lighthouse's soup kitchen earlier this year, Oliveira says he's both nervous and excited to help guide the ministry through its next chapter. In a local spotlight, Jessica Clay's journey to Wenatchee began as a short radio stint. But 20 years later, she's still here, raising a family, leading charitable partnerships for Numerica Credit Union, and deeply rooted in community life. From her early days interviewing nonprofits on air to her current work across the Wenatchee Valley, Clay credits her late mother for inspiring her heart for service. She says, "I really do care," and it shows. After nearly 2 decades as an executive with Numerica and community volunteer, Clay has become a familiar face in Wenatchee's nonprofit circles. She balances travel-heavy work with family life, book reviews, and a dream of someday returning to the theater stage. Known for her pumpkin-themed autumns and love of cold brew, she says what keeps her here is simple: community, connection, and a deep sense of gratitude. Thanks for listening. For more information on all the stories you heard today, visit us at WenatcheeWorld.com. The Wenatchee World has been engaging, informing, and inspiring North Central Washington communities since 1905. We encourage you to subscribe today to keep your heart and mind connected to what matters most in North Central Washington. Thanks for starting your morning with us, and don't forget to subscribe to Slices of Wenatchee wherever you listen to podcasts.